Project 222, Human Rights Campaign, says that we're all better off if each of us have dignified access within civil society to a minimum, when I say all of us, it's 7.6 billion people, to a minimum of 2 gallons of clean water, 2,000 nutritional calories, and 200 cubic feet of secure shelter. So Project 222 is a universal, basic human right that we're all guaranteed life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and life being dependent upon measurable amounts of food, water, shelter. So I don't know if you're familiar with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
I am.
Okay,
Yes.
so those 222 are integral integers on all 17. So we're looking to get that recognized in the U.S., in each community, in each family, that we say, wait a minute, when it gets down to it, what we need is our 222.
Okay.
And if it's not across boundaries, we're never going to solve the refugee problem.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that is certainly a worthy goal. I think we have so much in Washington, D.C. I guess I can only speak for this part of the United States right now. But I think it's difficult to achieve in some ways because the rich countries of the world are taking a lot from the poor countries of the world. So I think achieving that would be great, but how do we make decision makers actually put the vulnerable people on the map and actually think about what it's like to live in their shoes?
That's part of the reason I'm here. So I spent a lot of time at the anti-nuclear vigil in front of the White House during the Occupy movement.
Okay.
And that little cover there is about 200 cubic feet. So is the interior of a car, and you know many people live out of their cars, right? And so is a small tent. So the 222 is a quantifiable, reasonable, and relatable measure. So if you start seeing 222s behind your favorite political candidate with a 222 project, you're going to start asking, what is this 222?
Right.
So as we educate the general population that we are all in the same bathtub, all in the same ecosystem, and regardless of what race or what gender or what country, we are dependent upon a healthy earth.
Right.
And we are already spending hundreds of billions of dollars on these relief efforts. 222 is not a magic, it's just a realization that these are finite measurable amounts that are required for life. And if you don't have those, you're going to cross whatever border you need to, whether it be a legal border or a geographic border. You're going to say, I need this for me and my family.
Right. And whether people are thinking about it in those measurements or not, like what one needs to survive is very clear. Like you don't want to be going thirsty every day. Like you don't want your kids struggling to get the nutrients they need, right? Like
or the health care, it's all tied together.
Right. And like how could you blame someone for wanting the best for themselves and their families?
Right. Maslow says, you need those basics to reach your higher self, right?
Right, exactly. So, I think it's great, and I think like even if I wish that everyone on the planet even had to live within those constraints for one day to realize how little that actually is. And like I think it's hard for people in the global north to conceptualize what life is like for those in the global south or those without resources and amenities, because like we live with, there's resources
abundance
around
everywhere.
us, exactly. And like just to conceptualize what 222 actually means, like I think it's lost on most people.
But you got it, right?
I mean,
think
you
just
about it a lot.
You just repeated 222 and you hadn't heard of it, and all of a sudden it's in your vocabulary.
Yeah, I've spent time in overseas, so I like have a picture in my mind or people in my mind who I can relate to, but like not everyone is as privileged enough to have had those experiences.
And what type of employment do you have now?
I work for a nonprofit organization actually just across the street. We are an organization, it's called Radiant Earth Foundation. We're focused on aggregating...
Greener Earth, you said?
Radiant Earth Foundation. We aggregate all of the open satellite data sets for the global development community to use to integrate into their mission. So whether that's, doing an environmental assessment of the land, healthcare, or public
Well,
health.
So Project 222 has been sponsored by the Institute for Education Research and Scholarships.
Okay.
Some of the best IT minds in the world.
Okay.
And they are our fiscal sponsor. I
Okay.
happen to be on the board of the Institute for Education Research and Scholarships.
Okay.
I'm their new chief financial officer.
Okay.
So the idea is to work with other NGOs, get all the data known to mankind, and transcribe that into usable algorithms to address certain populations once they're identified. So you're part of a census, really, right? Is that what part of that?
Yeah, I mean, we like aggregate data sets, so we're not
Yeah.
data collectors ourselves, but we help people derive insights from satellite imagery.
Okay.
So I could give you my card also.
Please,
We
please,
could,
please.
Like if you are interested in using satellite data, and I'm also interested to learn more about what you do, and we could exchange information. Here somewhere.
You got a whole box of them. I love it. And I don't have a card, but you know our website is project222.org.
Okay.
I'm Charles at project222.org.
Okay, sounds good. Well, send me an email and.
What's your name?
Anna May.
Anna May. Can I have
Yes.
a hug, Anna May?
Maybe next time. We're
Oh,
only just
we're in
getting to know
DC.
each
We're in
other.
DC.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Not to be unfriendly. Anna May.
Anna May.
Yep.
Anna May, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm interested to hear more about your work and learn more. So
Yeah.
please feel free to get in touch.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, nice to
I know
meet
you
you.
wanna hug me.
Virtual hug. Nice to meet you.
Thanks, Anna. May. Another NGO. Did you
Fairly relevant.
relevant? That's what I'm finding about Project 222 is it's relevant to everyone. Well, I go in knowing that, and able to articulate it is sometimes a little more difficult, and that's why we want to translate it to different genders, to different languages, to different cultures, and through the use of video and recording. So if you see this video and you want to tell your father in another language, then we're going to have a translation from son or daughter to father, as well as through a culture, as well as through a language. So it's very interesting that what technology gives us the capability to do now, to send meaningful information and entertaining information, and I hope that this develops into that as quickly as possible, because there's about 2 billion people right now without 222.
Great.
So, who else can we start talking to?